Hello everyone and welcome to the GB3 2025 season preview by JB Motorsports. It is time to look ahead to a brand new season in the UK's leading single-seater championship, and it's going to be a really exciting season. We're going to be bringing you some good coverage here on JB Motorsports 2, and joining me for a bit of that throughout the season will be Wes. Hi Wes, we're getting ready for a brand new season. It's going to be quite a lot of fun this year.
Oh, absolutely, Omi. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a real international feel to the championship this year, and not just in terms of the drivers, but also by the fact that half of the circuits are going to be in continental Europe as well. We've got a brand new car, which I absolutely love the shape of. Very reminiscent of the old style F3 cars as well. So much to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was, of course, there in testing. I was able to see those cars a couple of days ago at Brands Hatch, and they are absolutely phenomenal with DRS as well. We've got quite a few amazing rounds coming up. As you mentioned, not all based here in the UK. We've got some outside of the UK in the rest of Europe. So we start the season next week here at Silverstone. That'll be on the 26th to 27th April. Our round after that will be on May. That will be at Zandvoort in the Netherlands, and that will hold round 4, 5 and 6 of the season. 3 races per weekend. Wes will give you a bit more detail on how the weekend format works in a little bit as well. Then we head over to Spa, where we do so at the end of May going into June. That will hold round 7, 8 and 9. At Hungary then we make our trip to next for the 5th and 6th July. And then we continue the season in August back at Silverstone on the Grand Prix layout once again. Then at Brands Hatch, also on the Grand Prix layout at the or near the end of August on the 23rd to 24th. And then our penultimate our penultimate weekend of racing rather, is on the 4th to 5th October at Donington Park. And we end the season at Monza in what is a calendar that is made to match F1 to some degree as well, to better prepare some of these drivers. And Wes, well, you've got a bit more information when it comes to how the weekend format will work at each and every one of these rounds.
That's right, Omi. Yeah, we've got 24 races across each of the 8 events, 3 races per event. The weekend format's going to consist of a 20-minute qualifying session, followed by 2 20-minute races, one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday, as well as a second race on the Sunday, 25 minutes, and that's with a partially reversed grid. The top 12 will be reversed. The first 2 races will have points down to 20th position, with the third race having points down to only 15th.
Yes, a really interesting format, as you mentioned, and it's a format which, when it comes to our reverse grid race, the final race of the weekend, it does help prepare the drivers when they do have to do it in Formula 3 and when they do have to do it in Formula 2 as well. F1 Academy has taken a similar approach, and we're recording this straight after a couple of hours after their race earlier, and it continues to deliver when it comes to our reverse grid races. So GB3 is going to be quite a lot of fun when we add in that. But overall, your thoughts, Wes, on this calendar? A really great calendar, and it's great that we get quite a lot of different type of rounds and racetracks for the drivers to battle on.
Oh yeah, absolutely fantastic. Jonathan Palmer and his team have pulled off a masterstroke here with making more of the races in continental Europe. It's really a rival to the Formula Regional European Championship in terms of how much the drivers like it, how popular it is with the fans. It's really going to be an exciting championship this year.
It really will. Well, we've gone through the format, we've gone through our calendar. Now let's take a look at the teams along with their drivers. And we're going to start with Prema, who of course are in partnership with Argenti in this category as well. 3 amazing drivers. Now, a quick little disclaimer before we get going and properly go through. Not all the teams have announced all 3 drivers. Luckily, every single team has got at least one for us to talk about. But yes, not everyone has announced, so there will be some gaps and there will be some driver pictures that are bigger. If you only see one, then of course that means only one's announced. Same for two. And then if we've got all three, then they've got a full lineup ahead of this year. And then we've also put in some drivers. We've also put in an image for when the drivers are set to be announced. So that tells us that the drivers, well, they've got a driver, that team, and that means that we are going to see someone 100% in being announced very, very shortly. So that's how that is going to work. And of course, all of these images can be found on the official GB3 website. So yes, as we mentioned, we're going to start over with Prema, who of course are in partnership with Argenti. What's your thoughts on this lineup then, Wes? Three drivers who will definitely be looking to be in contention.
Yeah, it's got quite a strong driver lineup, and obviously having Prema along is going to be nothing but a boost for them as well. Prema with all of their experience in Europe. We've got I think the most impressive driver of the three, for me at least, is going to be Reza Siwarathan. Who I really enjoyed watching him race in the winter this year in Formula Regional Middle East. I thought he performed well above where I had him originally. We've also got the Mercedes junior driver Yuan Poon Sway, who did very well in British F4 last year. The other driver, Lucas Flusha, I thought was a little inconsistent last year in Spanish F4, so depending on how quickly he can acclimatize to this new car, I think will depend on how well he does.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether Flusha is able to sort out some of the issue when it comes to the consistency as well. Remember, we have to remember that these drivers are the unfinished article. We are going to see the improvement come in, so we'll definitely be hoping that Flusha is able to try and become a bit better when it comes to that. And with so many rounds on a weekend, they'll definitely need to be consistent if they want to find themselves in a good position when it comes to our standings. Now, as you can see, we've moved over to Chris Dittman's Racing, and Wes, we've only got one driver, Rashid Al-Daheri, who has been announced as well. So only one driver announced for them so far. But what's your thoughts on them ahead of this season?
Al-Daheri did very, very well racing in the Middle East over the winter, just like Siwarathan. He's the first of two Emirati drivers who've signed up to race in Britain this year. Al-Daheri, I think both of them actually, both Al-Daheri and Al-Hazari, who we'll talk about a little bit later, they could very well spring a surprise because they're both very, very skilled drivers, and yeah, I see them doing very well.
Yeah, absolutely. When it comes to Al-Daheri, we did see him, and we've already covered him on JB Motorsports before. That was at the Macau round at the back end of last year, as you mentioned, doing a lot of racing when it came to the Middle East. Now, I don't know, of course, if you've got any other names that you think could fit in this team. We've only got one driver, so is there any predictions or anyone you could see fitting in that possibly hasn't got a drive so far that could deserve a seat in this series and also with this team?
No, I'm not. I'm not too sure on exactly who. I haven't really looked much into the winter testing times. Who has any? I mean, has anyone else been driving the Chris Dittman car in winter testing so far?
Well, I wasn't able to notice, I wasn't able to get to the team or see too much when it came to them at Brands Hatch. I was mostly based around Rodin Motorsport and mostly the drivers that were there as well. So, yeah, the drivers who do testing, of course, we do usually see them move on and participate in with that team. So that's always a great indicator in terms of who we could see in that seat. But in terms of the team as a whole, if they are able to get a good couple of hands to join Rashid Al-Daheri, how do you think they will be able to get on as a whole team?
Yeah, Chris Dittman as a team, they really tend to rally around and support their drivers rather well. They tend to value quality over quantity. So yeah, I think Rashid is in very good hands in that team.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how he is able to get on. Of course, we had we've had a couple of tests that have gone on, but it's all eyes now to the opening round of the season and to see who is going to be in contention as well. We had 23 drivers in total who classified when it came to our pre-season test over earlier on in this week at Brands Hatch. So very clearly, Wes, we haven't been able to see all of the teams be able to find the drivers. I'm just currently also taking a look at the list and see who was running in. And yeah, unfortunately, we haven't seen too many drivers. Well, we haven't got the full grid. We haven't got the entire 30 that we wanted. So it'll be interesting to see. It'll be very interesting to see who they will put in the car and who will be joining Rashid Al Daheri in what could be a very great year for them. Now, over to Elite Motorsport, and you've got Will McIntyre along with Bianca Bustamante, who is in this category. And as you can see, it's exactly what we were mentioning earlier on. We've got the announcement coming soon image as well, and that tells you that someone is set for the role. They've already found a driver, and we're going to find out who that is soon. So Wes, thoughts on that lineup so far, and thoughts on the team as a whole?
Yeah, I think that that Will McIntyre could very well spring a surprise. He was last year. He was solid. I think he got rather outclassed by the guys at the top, even despite winning 3 races last year. But yeah, he's been improving a lot. His winter testing times have been pretty good. And yeah, Elite is a great team, so we could definitely see him doing well this year.
Absolutely. Now, the driver who was in test with them, who isn't, of course, on the lineup, was Flynn Jacques as well. So if he is set for that role, and if he is the driver that is able to get in there, how much do you know of him, and if he is able to get that seat, and if he is the driver that they've managed to find full time, how do you think he'll be able to get on?
Yeah, I think I really don't know anything about him, to be honest. I think he was racing in Australia last year. I saw his name on a web page or two, but yeah, he's not really been on my radar, to be honest. But I like an unknown. They're always usually a dark horse, so yeah. Hopefully he could spring a surprise.
Yeah, there's so many drivers when it comes to the junior categories. There's so many of them across all over the world. So it's always nice when we have a bit of an unknown and we have a driver who we don't really know as well coming in. And considering the amount of drivers, Wes, that aren't, considering the amount of drivers that don't have a seat at this stage full time, and the teams that haven't been able to find those drivers, it does tell us that we are going to see possibly a few unknowns in the field, and that's always great to see. And I guess let's hope that they can all surprise us when they do come in. But we are going to move over to the next team, and the next team is Fortec Motorsport, which of course only have one driver, but as the graphic once again tells you, they do have an announcement coming soon. So far, Wes, thoughts on this lineup?
To be honest, the first time I'd heard of Stefan Bostanjiv was at the GB4 race a couple of weeks ago. But he did extremely well. He got a podium. And although he's not going to be taking part in any more GB4 races, if his time in GB3 is even half as good as that, then yeah, we could be in for a real treat.
Yeah, we absolutely could as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how he gets on. Now, the driver that possibly could be in that seat with the announcement coming soon, the driver could feel that slow. We don't have a clue who's going to be the third driver. I don't believe that they had all 3 cars running in testing, but they did have 2 in total, and quite impressive, I have to say. James Higgins up there, 5th position, ahead of Stefan as well. So if he was to get this, how much do you know of him first of all, or is he once again an unknown, and how do you think he could fit into the seat? But quite impressive if you look at the timing page.
Yeah, I sort of recognize his name from F4, but yeah, he's not really been on my radar that much. But yeah, same as Jack's before. His testing times have been all right, and Fortec is a very good team. So yeah, I think he could do well.
So it could work, it could click, and sometimes it's the team and driver combination that makes it work. Now, over we go to what is, even with just one driver, a very, very exciting lineup. You've got Freddie Slater, who is part of Hillspeed, and it's going to be really exciting to see how he does. Now, first of all, we also have to make this clear. He's doing a dual campaign with Frecker, so he will be missing rounds of this championship. So basically, they've got a driver at this stage who is missing rounds of this championship. They've only got one person, and he won't even be here for most of the season. But for the rounds he is going to be here, Wes, how do you think Slater's going to be able to get on? And I think we pretty much know that you completely know him quite well. And I think most of the Feeder Series world now recognise him, especially after his incredible performance in Formula 3.
I'd say it's such a shame he's not going to be able to do the full campaign, because watching him and Deegan Fairclough, which is the other driver I rate very highly, I could only imagine what kind of battles they would be able to get into. I mean, we'll still get that in the races he will take part in. Slater is definitely something else in terms of talent. I mean, just seeing his performance in Bahrain last weekend in a car he hadn't tested in for what was arguably the worst team on the F3 grid as well. He absolutely minced qualifying. He was so close to that win. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that the races he'll do not only in GB3 but in Frecker as well. He's pretty much just going to blow them all away.
Yeah, I think Frecker, considering he'll be there full time, he's already signed the contracts for that. I think we are going to possibly see a bit of a domination coming, but we'll hopefully see some drivers being able to challenge him from race to race. Now, with Freddie Slater, of course, not being here for quite a few of the rounds due to clashes. It'll be interesting to see how he does in the rounds he is here, but I think he's absolutely going to blow the field away along with a couple of other talented stars. We have to look at some of the other prospects. Now, I didn't see on the GB3 website any graphics of announcements coming soon for these drivers, so they are in a bit of a bad position, but unlike a lot of teams, they were able to completely have 3 cars running in testing, and we had Kanato Lee, who we covered in Frecker at the in the last round at Monza, so it was great to cover him there. So he finds himself 15th, 1.3 seconds off Slater by the end of Brands Hatch testing. And then we also had Hiyu Yamakoshi, who was also testing for Hill Speed. So Wes, what's your opinions on those 2 drivers, and how do you think they could fit in if, let's say, they are elected for that seat?
I think Kanato Lee is a very underrated driver. He's had some really impressive performances in British F4. He's had a few stinkers as well, in fairness. But if he can work on cracking the consistency, he can be a very quick driver. Hayu Yamakoshi, I must admit, was what made me keep coming back to Italian F4, other than Freddie Slater, of course. Yamakoshi's such an exciting driver. I really think he could be really good for Japanese fans to watch. Very exciting. And he pushed Freddie Slater in that Italian F4 championship quite hard as well, despite not being in the Prema, which is obviously the favoured car in that championship. So yeah, very impressive driver.
Yes, hopefully we'll see Yamakoshi in the same team now as Freddie Slater, be able to challenge him a little bit more and definitely be at the front. But an exciting prospect, as you mentioned, for Japanese motorsport, and possibly the next one to follow in the footsteps as well of someone like Yuki Tsunoda and ending up in Formula 1. Iwasa, unfortunately, while he's been able to get some FP1s, hasn't been able to fully get a drive when it's come to that category. So this will definitely be a driver to keep an eye on, along with Kanato Lee, if they do get these seats. Now, guess what? We're back to a full lineup. We're back to 3 drivers being confirmed. And, well, it's a very exciting lineup with Nikita Johnson. You have Deegan Fairclough as well. And then, as we mentioned, part of the Alpine Academy, we have Keanu as well, who is also in the mix. So, I'm guessing that you're going to have a lot to say when it comes to this lineup. And as we've given you 3 drivers, I'm just going to completely let you loose and give us your thoughts on High-Tech GP's GB3 2025 season in prospect.
Yeah, so we'll start with the first driver on the list there, Nikita Johnson. Had a lot of fun watching him in the Formula Regional Oceania Championship in New Zealand over the winter. I feel as though he was solid if unspectacular. Despite getting that 3rd place, he was quite some way behind the eventual winner, Arvid Lindblad. He's also doing a dual campaign with Indy Next in his native United States, so he's got that going as well. But yeah, he had a very good championship run in GB3 last year, so I'm expecting more and expecting better this year. Moving across to Deegan Fairclough, who absolutely dominated British F4 last year. I mean, it just wasn't even a contest last year. So he's going to have a lot of pressure this season. He really needs to hit the ground running, especially with Freddie Slater not taking part in all the races. I feel like this could be a bit of an open goal for him if he's consistent enough. We'll have to wait and see on that. His testing times, though, have looked incredibly promising. He really seems to be getting the handle on this new car. Kino Al-Azari, as you mentioned earlier, part of the Alpine Academy. I think that'll be hopefully a nice calming influence on him to have that support from the F1 team. His results in previous championships at the F4 level have looked very good as well. So yeah, expecting big things from him.
Yeah, a really exciting lineup, a really talented lineup, and they definitely could be one of the teams to beat as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how this entire lineup down at High-Tech TGR does, and it's going to be really fun to watch their drivers in battle up against some of the other stars and teams. And our next team on the list is JHR Developments, and we can see their lineup right now with 2 drivers. We've not got another one in prospect in terms of being confirmed at this stage, but the 2 drivers that we do have announced, whereas with Kai and Noah, how do you think they're going to be able to get on in 2025?
Well, Kai Darianani is he was. I used to jokingly call him Mr. F4, not because he had much in the way of success, but just because he took part in the most amount of F4 races of anybody in history. I think it was just a little bit shy of 200 over the course of, I want to say it was like 6 or 7 championships, which speaks more to his budget than it does to his skill level. So I don't want to say anything mean, but I don't ever really expect too much from Darianani. He has his moments, certainly, where he's up there, but yeah, he's not the most consistent of drivers. Noah Lyle has had some good drives. He had some good drives last year. The year before, in Spanish F4 as well. I was quite impressed by the way he drove. I think he will probably have the legs on his new teammate, Darianani.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting lineup, and it'll be interesting to see who joins them as well. But yes, I remember we covered Kai when it came to the Macau race last year, so that was quite a lot of fun. But let's hope he is able to impress us at times, even if he does definitely use a lot of his budget to get different drives across F4 now arriving at this GB3 level. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. On to another full lineup, and we've got JBMotorsports, and this is a really interesting lineup. Of course, you've got Abby Pulling right at the bottom, which loads of F1 Academy fans will be coming over to follow specifically for her. And then you've also got Alex and also Pradell, who are also part of that team. So really interesting lineup down at Rodin Motorsports. How do you think they'll be able to do? And of course, you also covered Abby Pulling in the round at Qatar last year with us on JB Motorsports and F1 Academy.
Yeah, Pulling's going to have a little bit of a target on her back. Not so much from the other drivers, I think, but just due to the fact that she's now one of the fastest female drivers in the world, or considered as such. The eyes of a lot of people are going to be on her to perform. And in fairness, in testing, she's always been there or thereabouts in the top 10. So. As long as she can, get the handle on the car, she's very familiar with the majority of circuits on this calendar, so that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, I expect to see her in and around the top 10 quite consistently, maybe even snatching a win or two. Alex Ninovich has he's a very good driver. I think he was unfortunate to find himself in the same in British F4 in the same year as Deegan Fairclough because he tried so hard and you could really tell some of the mistakes he made, especially toward the latter end of British F4, were as a result of trying to keep up with Fairclough. So he's definitely a very skilled driver. I expect to see some good performances from him. Probably not going to go for a championship run this year, though. John Marco Pradell is, I think, a solid if unspectacular driver. He had a single win in Italian F4 last season on his way to 7th in the championship. I think jury's still out a little bit on how he will do. He's been sort of around the mid-table in the testing times, so we'll have to wait and see on him.
Yeah, absolutely. It was Abby Pulling finished 10th at Brands Hatch when it came to the testing there. So as you mentioned, impressing, and it was great to also speak with her and get a little word with her as well regarding the season ahead and of course her thoughts on the F1 Academy Championship. But if I remember correctly, Alex Ninovich as well, along with Freddie Slater, but especially Alex Ninovich, was the driver that Deegan Fairclough mentioned as one of his big rivals this year that he'll have to contend with. So we've got two more teams remaining, and one of them is VRD Racing, and they've only got one driver, and as we mentioned, his image is quite big, so that tells you that there's no driver in prospect as of yet in terms of being announced, but they'll definitely be working hard to get two other drivers to join him. But as of yet, how do you think Hugo will be able to do this season?
Yeah, Hugo's a driver. You tend to see him around the mid pack in places. I'll be quite interested to see how VRD do now that they're not working with Arden anymore. Arden have extricated themselves from the championship. They're focusing all their efforts, I believe, now on just GB4. So that'll be interesting. VRD, of course, an American team. They race mostly in the junior formulas across the pond over there, but yeah, sticking their toes in the water a little bit over here. But yeah, hopefully Hugo Schwartz, as I said, solid enough driver. We could see some fairly good results from him.
We absolutely could. I think we're going to get some great performances coming in from him, and hopefully he will be able to impress us throughout the season. And hopefully they'll also be able to find two other drivers that are talented also alongside him that can also get in the mix. But Hugo finished 13th when it came to the Brands Hatch pre-season test as well. On to our final team, and we're going to end it in a positive way with three drivers and a full lineup with Jack, Patrick and Dion Goad as well, who we interviewed as well when it came to Brands Hatch, all part of XL Motorsport. So Wes, well, what's your thoughts on this team, XL Motorsport, along with the three drivers that they've signed up to try to take them to the top this year?
Yeah, XL is definitely a team going places. known mostly for F4 Middle East. They came over to the UK. I think was it 1 or 2 years ago, one of the two, and they've been quietly, getting work done. But yeah, I definitely see them showing some signs of speed. They've got three fairly decent, fairly solid drivers in the team with definitely more than just a chance of some very good results. They all three of them, I believe, have a background in British F4. Although no, actually, well they've raced last year as well. So yeah, definitely have a very positive outlook on XL, and I think they could spring a surprise.
Yeah, I think absolutely XL could spring a surprise, and we absolutely love surprise, especially in a championship like that. Well, we've completed our 10 teams. We're going to be hopefully keeping an eye on all of the announcements before next week that will come in. Definitely do keep an eye on social medias for GB3, that will bring you up to date, and of course join us for the opening round next week as well, which will definitely be fun to see. But we'll bring you back over to the camera screen. And Wes, well, can we get then your driver to look for then this season? And can we also get your team that you'll be most looking forward to? And with, of course, explanations either side of that as well.
Well, I mean, it's definitely going to be Freddie Slater for the races he takes part in. For the races he's not there for, my money's going to be mostly on Deegan Fairclough, although several of the other drivers could spring a surprise. I'm also very interested to see how Prema does in their first year in this championship in a car that's going to be unfamiliar to everybody. So everybody's starting from zero as far as that goes. And yeah, we really are going into uncharted territory in a way. So yeah, lots to look forward to.
Lots to look forward to indeed. And could we quickly get a team as well in there?
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I think it's probably going to be Roden. I believe. I think in terms of overall of the drivers who have been signed so far, I think Roden have the strongest lineup of all.
Yep, absolutely. And before we wrap it up completely, could I also, if we go to the calendar screen, which round are you most looking forward to?
I mean, considering that we haven't gone there before in GB3, it's probably going to be the season finale in Monza, especially with this new car, which is much faster than the old one. Going around the Temple of Speed is just going to be spectacular.
It really, really is as well. And I think we have something crazy like all four of the championships that we're covering on JB Motorsports 2 wrapped up in like something like 2 or 3 weeks. So it's going to be quite a lot of fun when we get to the October phase. But yes, we will be covering, along with GB3, we're also going to be covering FRECA this year. We're going to be covering Italian F4, and we're going to be covering Euro 4, which will of course turn into E4 as well. So those are the 3 championships we're covering along with GB3, and I'm looking forward to doing a full campaign of FRECA after the one round we did. I feel like Italian F4 will just be a lot more cars as well involved in there, but similar to FRECA, considering they've run on the same weekends sometimes as well, and then E4 also using the same system. So I'm looking forward to GB3 as well, in terms of it being something different away from those 3 categories that share quite a lot of similarities with it running sometimes on the same weekend. I'm looking forward to something completely separate with complete different systems, and looking forward to that. So before we wrap it up then, can I first of all get, Wes, your final thoughts ahead of this season when it comes to GB3, and then also a quick word when it comes to FRECA, Italian F4 and E4 and those 3 championships as well.
Yeah, lots to look forward to. As I said before, brand new car for GB3. That's the thing I'm most looking forward to. I think that car is just absolutely gorgeous, and it's going to be so much fun watching it go around all the different circuits. Yeah, in terms of FRECA and Italian F4/E4, brand new drivers, very fast drivers. and yeah, it's going to have action, it's going to have carnage, and it's going to be fabulous to watch. So I hope you all tune in for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you do tune in to see some of the stars of the future before they even get to the F2, F3 level. You get to know them nice and early, and then you get to say when they reach to F1 that you followed their entire journey as well. But that is it for our GB3 preview. Testing is done. All of the previewing is done. The next time we're out there, we'll be in racing conditions as well when we start the season at the Grand Prix layout of Silverstone next week. Join us then as we begin what will be a very exciting GB3 campaign to try and crown a champion. Who's going to take it? Well, you'll have to join us to find out. Thank you very much for listening to our preview of the season, and we'll see you in a week's time for the season opener. Goodbye.